Hello children, welcome back to Science with Savi. I hope every one of you is doing amazing. So I'm back again with the last topic of the chapter which we started. We started up from class 10, Science, lesson number 6, Life Processes. In this chapter, we have already completed the topic of nutrition, respiration, excretion, and today I'm going to take up the last topic, that is transportation. Okay, so this is a very interesting topic. So stay tuned, stay focused, and let's begin. In a multicellular organism, all the living cells have to be provided with nutrients. They need oxygen, they need all the important materials for sustaining the normal life process. And also whatever waste product has been produced, they also has to be transported out. So all the things are being transported from one part to the other. And this important function of transporting things from one place to the other is carried out by the blood vascular system. We can also call it as a circulatory system or a cardiovascular system. So in this class, we are going to talk about the entire circulatory system in humans. As we studied in respiration, that the oxygen we breathe in reaches into the cell. And in the cell, the oxygen is used to break down the glucose. So the oxygen to reach the cell, how the oxygen will reach the cell? There should be something, there should be a medium, there should be a mechanism which is transporting the oxygen throughout the body, bringing back carbon dioxide back from the body. Again, when we were doing nutrition, we saw that the food is digested and it is absorbed in the body, okay, and the nutrients which are absorbed, they flow to all through the body. So again, there should be a mechanism which is carrying all these nutrients to all parts of the body. And when the nutrients have reached the body, after the body and the cells have used these nutrients, the waste products will be released. As we studied in excretion, so all the waste which has been released has again to be transported through a medium. So there is a need of a transporting mechanism or a transporting medium which is helping us in, through and out motion of all these, gases, hormones, nutrients, waste products, everything throughout the body. So this is done by the circulatory system. So I will be taking up this topic and I will divide it into 3 components. In the first part, I will be discussing the entire circulatory system in human beings, its components. Then I will also take up how the circulation will takes place in other organisms in brief. And in the last part, we will also see that how the transportation of material takes place in plants. Okay, so I will be dividing in these 3 topics and then we will be completing the entire topic. So in the human circulatory system, you need to understand that blood acts as the medium. Okay, blood acts as a medium through which the materials are transported. There should be something which is carrying the materials from one place to the other. That is the blood. And how the blood will flow? It will flow in the closed blood vessels. So these blood vessels are the things inside which the blood flows. Now for the blood to flow inside the vessel, there should be an organ which is creating a pressure so that the blood is reaching out to all different, parts of the body, all the cells and tissues of the body. So that organ is the heart. So I will be taking up the human circulatory system in these 3 subtopics. We will first talk about the medium which is helping in the transport, that is the blood. Second, the vessels in which the blood flows, and third, the main pumping organ, that is the heart, because of which the blood is flowing in the vessels and reaching out to all parts of the body. So let's start with the blood. As you have already studied in class 9 that blood is a liquid connective tissue, okay, it is alkaline in nature, its pH is around 7.3 to 7.4, and in an adult human male around 5 to 7 liters of blood is there and around 5 to 6 liters of blood is there in the adult female. Now blood has very important functions, okay, so you can see in the board I have discussed it in these subheadings. So first function is the blood helps to transport gases like the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout the body, which happens in respiration. The whole transport takes place by the blood. Second, it also helps in the transporting the nutrients, transporting the waste, nitrogenous waste throughout the body, transporting the hormones. Okay, so all these transportation of material takes place through the blood. Second important thing is that the blood maintains the water balance in the body, the water ion balance in the body. So blood plays a very important role in this. It maintains the pH, okay, pH of the body. So that is a very important function of the blood. And also the blood helps in clotting. Okay, whenever you get hurt, there is a flow of blood, but after some time the blood clots. Okay, so this property of blood is also very useful, and blood plays a very important role because it forms the defense mechanism of the body. The blood has, the power, it has the soldiers, it has cells which can fight with any foreign substance which has invaded your body. So it helps in forming the most important defense mechanism of the body. So now let's see what are the different components of blood. We can divide the blood components into two parts. The blood contains the liquid part, that is a blood plasma. It is the extracellular matrix, and then there are the formed elements. Okay, so blood plasma and the formed elements. You will see here it is also being discussed in the board in the form of this flow chart. You can note it down when I am explaining you this. The blood is 45% of formed elements and 55% of the blood plasma. If the formed elements are removed from the blood, you get a straw colored liquid which is called the blood plasma. Okay, this blood plasma has 90 to 92% of water and 8 to 10% of solutes are there. Now, what is there in the blood plasma? Blood plasma contains some very important proteins which are called the plasma proteins. Some of them are albulins, globulins, and fibrinogen. This fibrinogen plays a very important role in blood clotting. So when we will come to discuss blood clotting, I will talk about fibrinogen. By the time, just remember that the blood plasma has a very important protein, plasma protein, and that is fibrinogen. It also contains various salts, gases, nutrients, hormones, okay, and some kind of vitamins also. So if you settle down the blood, okay, if you have settled down the blood and keep it undisturbed for some time, you will find that the formed elements settle down in the bottom, all the cells settle down in the bottom, and the top part is the straw colored liquid, and that is the blood plasma. So with this we come to the second part, which is the formed elements. When I am saying formed elements, there are three kinds of formed elements which are present in the blood. Okay, the first one is the RBC. You have heard about it. Today we will see more about it. Red blood corpuscles or erythrocytes, RBC. Second is the white blood corpuscles or leukocytes. And third are the blood platelets. Now out of these three formed elements, the RBC and WBC are complete cells. Okay, they are complete cells. They have a cytoplasm, they have a membrane, they are complete cells. But the blood platelet are the cell fragments. They are the pieces of the, parts of the cell. They are not complete cell. So first let me talk about the erythrocytes or RBC. The RBC or the red blood cell, okay, and or it can be also called as a erythrocyte. Erythro means red, okay. These are the red blood cells. They are specialized for the transport of oxygen. Whatever oxygen which is being transported in the blood is because of these RBC. Now, why the RBC looks red in color? Why it has a red color? Because it has an oxygen carrying protein which is hemoglobin. It is an oxygen carrying pigment. This hemoglobin is made up of an iron and a globin, which is the protein part, and because of this heme, that is the iron group, it has a red color. Okay, so the oxygen combines and binds with this hemoglobin, and in this form the oxygen is being carried from one place to the other by combining with the RBC. Now there is a very important thing which I am going to tell you, that the RBC does not have a nucleus. It does not have any other membrane bound organelles. No organelles there. Why? So that most of the space is there for the transport of oxygen. Okay, so they do not have the nucleus. They do not have any other organelle. The cytoplasm only has hemoglobin to which the oxygen binds. And the shape of the RBC also plays a very important role. Okay, the shape is biconcave. You will see here in the picture, it has a biconcave shape. Because of this, a large surface area is provided so that the oxygen, more oxygen can be carried by these RBCs. This RBC, the average lifespan of RBC is only 120 days. Okay, after 120 days, these RBCs are ruptured and then they are thrown out. Okay, this is a very, very important part of the formed elements of blood. Red blood corpuscle, RBC or erythrocytes. With this, we come to the second important part, which is the WBC. Okay, WBC are the white blood corpuscles. Since their name white is there, okay, so it means it does not have any hemoglobin. RBC is red because of the presence of hemoglobin, okay. WBC is white blood corpuscle. They do not have any hemoglobin. They are also called as a leukocytes. Leuko means white, okay. So they are also called as leukocytes. These WBC, they have a nucleus. They have a nucleus, but they do not have the hemoglobin in them. And the WBC, the most important function of WBC is defense mechanism for the body. They are the soldiers, okay. They WBC act as the soldiers who fight the foreign infections or antigens which have entered our body. So WBC is a very important, blood cell, and at the time of infection, whenever there is an inflammation, there is an infection, or there is a fever, okay, whenever there is a foreign antigen in our body, the WBC count increases, okay. When you have a blood test, and if you are not well at that time, the WBC count will be more. But in a normal time, in a normal case, the RBC count is more. That is, more red blood cells are there in the body, there in the blood. Now, these white blood cells can again be divided into two types depending upon the presence of some granules in the cytoplasm. So, one set where the cytoplasm have the granules, which are called the granular leukocytes, okay. Another one which do not have the granules, so they are called the agranulocytes. Neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil come under the granulocyte. That is, they have some granules which are present in the cytoplasm. These granulocytes play a very important role in fighting infections. They have a very, very important role in fighting infections. And when we come to agranulocytes, that is, they do not have the granules. They are not present in the cytoplasm. They are of two types, monocytes and lymphocytes. So here the lymphocyte is very important, okay. These lymphocytes, they are responsible for producing antibodies. You must have heard the name of antibodies. Whenever any foreign substance enters our body, we call it an antigen, okay. Whenever any foreign infection, any kind of virus or bacteria which has entered our body, as soon as this foreign substance enters our body develops soldiers to fight with it. We call these soldiers antibodies. These antibodies are produced by the lymphocytes, okay. So WBC, I told you, they are acting as a defense mechanism of the body. Whenever there is an infection, antibodies are there in our blood. The WBC produces them, the lymphocyte produces them, and they fight with the infections. So these lymphocytes are very important. The platelets are also called as the thrombocytes, and these are not complete cells like the RBC and WBC. They are the cell fragments. They have a very short lifespan of around 5 to 7 days, and the most important function of the platelet is that they help in blood clotting. So we have seen that the blood contains the blood plasma and the formed elements. The formed elements are again of three types: RBC, WBC and the blood platelets. So with this, I will move to the next part. I will discuss little bit about clotting, okay. It is not there in your book, but it is really helpful for you. So I'll just take 2 minutes and talk about clotting. Whenever there is an injury, the blood vessels get ruptured and the blood oozes out. So at that time, what happens? We studied already when I was discussing the blood plasma. I told you that blood plasma has a very important protein which is fibrinogen. This fibrinogen is a soluble protein. So at the time of injury, there are some clotting factors which get activated. Okay, there are some clotting factors which get activated, and they convert this soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin threads. These fibrin threads, they cover up the wound where it is formed, and this is responsible for the clotting of blood. That is why whenever you have an injury, the blood comes out, but after some time the blood stops. There is a clot formed. The liquid blood changes into a gel-like structure and then solidifies. This is because of the conversion of the fibrinogen plasma protein into insoluble fibrin threads, and these threads makes the clot, and the blood flowing stops. Now, do you know there is a genetic disorder which is called hemophilia? In this disorder, these clotting factors are absent, and because of this, the blood doesn't clot at all. Yes, a simple injury can cause the person to lose huge amount of blood, and it can also lead to death. So this is a genetic disorder, hemophilia, where the clotting factors are absent and the blood does not clot. With this, I will move to the second part. We discussed the blood. So now I will talk about the blood vessels. So in the human circulatory system, there are three kinds of blood vessels: arteries, capillaries and the veins. So take it very, very clearly. Arteries, capillaries and the veins. Now arteries are the blood vessels which carry the blood away from the heart. That is, they carry the oxygenated blood away from the heart. The veins will carry the deoxygenated blood from all parts of the body towards the heart. And the capillary is the junction between the artery and the vein. So what happens when the arteries go inside the organ, they branch into arterioles. These arterioles then further branch into capillaries. And these capillaries are the places where the exchange of gas takes place. Do you remember when we were doing the respiration system? The alveoli in the lungs. Do you remember the alveolus in the lungs? Where the exchange of gases takes place? It takes place through the capillaries. So the arteries branch up into arterioles. They further branch up into capillaries, where the exchange takes place, either the exchange of gases or the exchange of nutrients or the exchange of waste product takes place, and these capillaries then join to form the venules, and these venules again join to form the veins. So remember that arteries carry the blood away from the heart, the veins carry the blood towards the heart, and capillaries are the junction between the arteries and the veins. Now, important thing to note here is that the arteries have thicker walls. They are more elastic because more blood flows in the arteries. Okay, it has more volume of blood flows in the arteries, so they have to be very elastic. So they are thicker. The wall is more elastic. The veins, the walls are thinner than that of the arteries, and the capillaries, the walls have to be very, very thin because the exchange is taking place. So the capillaries are only one cell thick. They are just one cell thick, so that easily the gases, the nutrients, the nitrogenous waste and other hormones and other things can be easily exchanged between the walls of the capillaries. So these three kind of blood vessels are very important. When we will be doing heart in my next video, everything about this blood vessel we will discuss, and this knowledge of the different types of blood vessel will help you a lot in understanding the structure and the functioning of heart. So children, I hope that you completely understood the human circulatory system, the two parts which we discussed. I talked about blood, the different components of blood. I talked about the blood vessels, the three type of blood vessels which we have. And in my next video, in the coming video with which I am coming up very soon, I will be talking about the entire structure of heart, how the blood circulation takes place in the heart, and also some more topics I will be taking on, like different kind of circulation, okay, which are going on in our body, and also about how the circulation goes on in other vertebrates, in other organisms, and to end up with how the transportation of material takes place in plants. So I hope you liked it, and please do give me your feedback in the comment box. It will really help me to improve myself more and more so that I can cater to the need of all the students who are in class 10. So thank you so much once again. Keep liking, sharing, and do subscribe, and please share with more and more of your friends. So keep learning, keep exploring. See you very soon. Bye bye.